Hello and happy Tuesday, everyone. This week, I don't exactly know what to do, but we've got a good start on these spruce trees, and I think I'm just going to chop down the ones that we have and use the saplings to plant more, and generally try to expand the soil cover on this mountain range. Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a house tree, but it is a general plan of action. I went and harvested myself a little bit of watermelon so I don't have no food, so I'm not like starving, like some sort of bungerous, like some kind of hungry ghost wandering the wastes of the spirit world, in search of whatever. I have watermelon with me, and so I have a little bit of something to eat. My potato is being extremely rebellious and has not grown to a sufficient degree to return more potatoes on top of the existing one potato. But starting a potato farm from one potato is a challenging task, and I have forgiveness in my heart. I have love in my heart, and you should too, for me. Specifically, you should forgive me for all of the things, all of my misdeeds, because I'm so forgiving, and you should be nice to me. You have to, you have to. So, there is that. And then the other thing is, I'm going to just almost finish this. How was your week? What have you been doing with your life up to this point? Are you proud of yourself? Are you satisfied with the level of kindness that you have done for poison spiders? Or are you not? Because if the answer is that you are not, then sincerely fix your heart. I know I've said it before, I'll say it again. Women generally love me for my repetitive speech, my memory problems, my various insanities, and my repetitive speech. All of those things. So, if you want me to stop having them, then you are going to have to fight me for those qualities. You already ate all of my ADHD. You already stole all of my ADHD. I don't have it anymore. So you've proven yourself capable, of stealing my repetitive speech. I think that you, dear viewer, are capable of stealing my repetitive speech patterns, and I am asking you nicely not to do it, because I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't find it niceys. I wouldn't be happy about that. So please don't do that thing. Please don't do it. Because I need my repetitive speech to pull women, I suppose is the way I'm saying it, as an extremely single girl with extremely normal relational problems, definitely, I have had relationships before. These allegations that I have never had any relationships are unfounded. Who's telling you this? What do you know about various files that may or may not have hundreds of references to certain pumpkins, to certain dirty pumpkins. What do you know? What do you know, dear viewer? If you know anything about those files, please feel free to post it in the comments below. And another thing, I don't like zombies even at all, and I'm going to deal with this one in the most appropriate and humane way by chopping its head wide open with an axe. And then I'm going to go back to sleepies, because sleepies are where the BBs occur. Yeah. So I feel like this ascent is a good one. It definitely makes it unlikely for mobs to follow along. What monsters? There's no spawn points here. What are you talking? Oh, they're unlikely to follow. Joke's on me for ever saying anything or expressing an opinion, as a woman. Misogynistic game alert. Screw this. What? You want me to be concerned that there's a zombie at the bottom of the stairs? That's ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing. Yeah, I see you. You're not doing anything. You're not even a threat at this distance. You're in a totally different level. You're just bouncing, like a little Greebler. I physically could not give less of a caring about this. Yeah, well, whatever. Look, just die, okay? Just die, please. That's the only thing I would ask. And I don't know, is it okay to ask, one's opponents? I wish it was okay to ask. I feel like it would be okay if I could just ask people and they would nicely just collapse into a pool of liquefied flesh, I think that would make my life significantly easier. But, people are rude and refuse vehemently to do such things upon my, gentle request. I'm communicating in a healthy way. All I'm asking is for my enemies to liquefy. I'm just asking them nicely to convert themselves into a pool of liquid goo. It seems like a perfectly reasonable request. Anyone should be able to do it, So I'm communicating, and I'm communicating in a healthy way, And I'm being kind, I'm being courteous, being respectful of, what the average person is generally able to do. And most people are perfectly capable of dissolving into a pool of liquid flesh, to be totally honest. So, why don't they? I ask you, why don't they? Now what do I do about this situation? I'm not seeing El Skeletone. Oh, there you are. Hello, El Skeletone. Oh, darn. Oh, great. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's wonderful. That's exactly what I want. I wanted everyone and their dog to come mess with me. That's what I wanted this whole time. That's amazing. That's perfect. Why wouldn't I want a million mobs right in my face the moment I wake up and walk out the door? It used to work that the mobs would just actively despawn in daylight. There wasn't this whole thing of they light on fire in the daylight and they know how to avoid sunlight, all that stuff, and that you didn't respawn in the sky. So there's just an endless death cycle now. Why am I spawning here? This doesn't make any sense. That's not where my bed is. That's not even close to where my bed is. My bed is in a different location. What is this? What is this game? What is wrong with society? What is wrong with everyone? What is wrong with you? Dear viewer, you clearly have some kind of emotional issues. Oh, I can only sleep at night and during thunderstorms. Keep telling me what to do, See how it goes. Keep imposing your order on me. Clearly, only good things can result, as we've established. I am helpless and vulnerable, and it's a good idea to mess with me. There we go. Well, anyway. Where is the skeleton that even shot me? Because there isn't even, a place for a skeleton to shoot me from. This is very annoying. I'm actually annoyed. I think you can tell. I don't have to say it. I don't have to think it even. But I am quite annoyed by this whole situation. This has been a particularly irritating first couple of minutes. I don't know exactly what to do about it. I just generally feel pretty irritated by all this. But I think I feel generally quite irritated in general right now. I just feel a lot of irritation. My face is itchy, I just feel like generally quite itchy and uncomfortable. So, in that context, I think it makes sense. Which reminds me, I forgot to take my meds. I'm gonna go do that. Just a second. Alright, we're back. I'm medicated. What does that mean for me? What kind of medication is it? These are all good questions that people could ask. If they wanted to know the answers, they could probably ask. Ask me in the comments. Will I answer? That is an excellent question. Okay, I'm gonna need more axe. I'm gonna need more axe material. I mean, these are excellent staircases, honestly. I mean, you see how I've got that. All I have to do is add to the outside, maybe, and then put stairs on top of that. So there's one way that I could approach this. But this just gives me a lot of wood. And if there's one thing that everybody knows that Symbiosister likes, it's wood, and a lot of it. A lot of good, solid, hearty wood. Is like one of my favorite things in the world. So I think this will be a good day. I think it'll be a good day. I think life is generally a good thing. It's good to have one of those things, by which I do mean a life. And the other thing is, I don't know how much I'm going to need of coal, but I think I'm going to just use this to make a lot of coal this time around. And then I'm going to make another axe, and I'm just going to carry on with my evil plan of gradually expanding the moss and soil cover of this mountain range, because that seems like the right thing to do today. It's raining outside. I know I have a full week of work ahead of me, creebling along, doing various activities that are financially beneficial. And an art market. It's called Queer Spirit Fair. The introduction is I spread queer joy, which is another way of saying I spread strange joy. Joy for that which is unusual. Joy which is itself in some way unusual. Numerous other meanings could be interpreted, but those are some of my favorite interpretations of the phrase I spread queer joy. Our partner for this event is called Rainbow Refugee. They help LGBT people who are refugees establish themselves in new contexts, in new locations. I'm serious. I know I'm using my sarcasm register, but I've just gotten stuck in my sarcasm register. November 29th is the date of the event. It will be at Beaumont Studios 2. I'm going to throw the poster up as though through a process of vomitism, and you'll be able to see the poster right there on your visualizer. And if you want to come to Queer Spirit Fair and say hello to me personally, and do things, whatever things, people do, well, I won't be able to stop you probably. So, that's, oof, holy darn. A totally normal way to think about this whole scenario. Yeah, stuff like that, words like that. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I think it'll be a good time. I'll be showing some resin art. I'll be showing some sculptures. Um, yeah, for those of you on the Patreon, I've got a silent version of my next sculpture video out. It should be there. I'll double check, but I think it is up there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to publish this one early, because if I publish it in 2 weeks, you actually won't see the event. So uh, it's probably better to start promoting it now. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it'll be good fun. I think there will be people there. I think there will generally be other human beings at that location, showing art and selling art and such like that. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. We'll see how it all goes, you know? Um, but if you'd like to support a good cause and come see some radical queer art, that's the place to be, November 29th. It's not this Saturday, but it's the Saturday after this Saturday. One of the many Saturdays that are also, in addition to being Saturdays, Tuesdays, because, as we've established through repetition and rote memorization, it is always Tuesday. But it can also be Saturday. Now, let's get a little sleepy sleeps in us, a little sleepification inside of ourself, and then let's make a lot of coal. Let's make enough coal, to start making torches, and enough pumpkins to start making bumpkins. Those are kind of the things. Those are the kind of the things that are important in life. Pumpkining and bumpkining. Those are the two main things, really. And then between this and this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a jack-o'-lantern, and that'll kind of be the main thing. That'll be kind of the main thing to, I don't know, just indicate that this is a place I live in, this is a home of mine, and I'll make a lot of those. It's the first plant-based lighting available in this game whose name, well, could really be anything. Could be many numerous things. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. My situation, makes it a little hard. I'm finding it difficult to focus right now. And I think one of the main reasons is relocating, relocating. Many of you may know that I have said in the past that I am relocating to Budapest for my health. And while not untrue, well, we'll see. We'll see. Dear viewer, I have not really decided. Some might describe it that way. I haven't really made up my goddamn mind, others might say. But, what is life except a series of decisions that you never get to know whether they were the right ones or not? We'll see. It could be other things. Life could have other things. It's possible, I suppose. It's possible. Maybe not all of life is about decisions. Maybe there are some digressions or something. I don't know what a digression would be, but I assume it would be a bad thing. It just sounds a little dirty, a little spiritually tainted, And that's another good word, tainted, It just feels, there's something wrong with that word. Tainted, To go through the process of taintification, I suppose, would be another way to communicate that, the meaning of that word, tainted, to be converted into taint, I suppose, is another way to say it. Only good things can result from saying that word and all of its conjugations, abjurations, and conflagrations at the same time. I do have a lot of dirt. I might as well just make a lot of dirt trails, because I don't have many bones, but I do have a lot of dirt, so I might as well just focus on what I do have, not what I don't have. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. You understand. You understand. You comprehend the deeper meaning, dear viewer. You creeble along, understanding things. I know you do. And that's why I think that you are sick and twisted in the head. Because understanding things is for bad people. And knowledge is power, which makes you a fascist if you have knowledge. Something like that. There's all kinds of beliefs one could construct from the raw materials available to one in one's own environment. Which is why they say theory in a vacuum is a good idea, and you should always theorize in a primordial vacuum without any underlying context or without communicating with those around you to validate or verify your own beliefs, because if you've gone out of your way to think about something, then probably your beliefs are correct, is maybe the most normal thing that anyone has ever believed. So there is that. Let's see, I think we've got a close to enough amount to make like a river of dirt, a river of soil to carry the grass through to this little valley. And that's, I think, what I want to do. I think I just want to dirtify this valley, dirt it up, soilize it, get it soiled, soilated, soylent. Unrelenting soil, unrelenting dirt, unrelenting force of earth and its numerous perturbations, squirrendling along. I was reading a paper about different Rubiscos. Apparently, the greatest rate for Rubisco, whatever the units are, is like 33. Plants typically use like between 4 and 6. Rubisco is an enzyme that's involved in the first step of carbon fixation, taking CO2 and bringing it into an atom, into a molecule with a small number of carbons in it. Starts with a 3 carbon molecule, I believe, and then goes from there. So there's something, from 4 to 6 to about 33. That's a pretty big jump. And they were like, oh, well, Rubisco's always slow. And it's like, well, have you considered that maybe there are good reasons for Rubisco to be slow? Maybe if you went too fast, and fixed all of the carbon, you'd end up overpopulating the atmosphere with too much oxygen and then burn yourself alive by working too hard. That seems like a bad idea, There's something very twisted about our current civilization and the way that it refuses to value the concept even of rest. And things happening more slowly rather than less slowly. It's very silly, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion. There we go. Okay, so then we've got a couple more blocks here. I want to make it at least 3 blocks wide all the way along, if possible. So 1, 2, and then 3. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, Everything's going along swimmingly. Everything is fine. Everything is okay. There are no problems. What is a problem? I have never had one of those, so I do not have the knowledge to comment on what a problem even is, or theoretically what a problem would be if I ever had any of those. So, here we go. I think this should probably be like this, and that should probably be like that, and that should probably be there, and that's why the grass hasn't spread to this side. I see. I understand. I am the understander now. The understanderess? You know? Das Unterstander. Das Unterstander. The under Santa. And there's a sheep. And I'll get some more wool. You know, I think I'll just keep harvesting wool. So the next time I go out, I'll have like 300 beds. And I'll just plant beds all along, everywhere in the world. Because there's no way that that could ever backfire. And then, I don't know, how many more... Let's just use up this pickaxe, because, like, I don't want the inventory space to be... There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know? Am I a masterful strategist? Don't call me that. What is that? Don't call me that. That sounds gross. I don't want to be a masterful strategist. That sounds disgusting. What is that? Stop. Stop saying that. Why do you keep saying that? Deranged. You probably have psychosis. You know? I'm going to get you institutionalized and mess up your life. Hello. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. Sweet. How's this going? That seems to be going. That seems to be going quite swimmingly. And then... Oh, I should have grabbed the saplings. Well, anyway. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to make a bone meal generator. So I think I'm going to do that next. Because now I've got enough cobble to kind of start cobbling. Do you see what I did there? Do you see how clever that was? I'm going to start cobbling together a lot of cobblestone. Stone of cobble. Stone of Kabul. And there we go. And then maybe that? That should be good. And then, like, some of that. And then, like, some of this. And then some of that. And then some of this. And then some of that. And then this I'd like to divide into triples. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then that can go there. And this can go there. And this can go there. And then this will just, like, full X its way on in at some point. Do I have any more cobble? I guess I don't. I thought I had more cobble than that. Why am I insisting on making my generator with, like, real stone? So that it's authentic. Obviously, joy, you know, authentic is the way to go. Authentic is the way that it should be. Authentic is correct and true and honest. So we've got about 20 in each. How do I do this? I think if I split it into quarters and give each one a quarter of what I still have, that should give it, like, pretty good balance-ish. Like, close enough-ish. Sort of ish. That's ish-ish. I like it. Okay, so then, while that's all cooking, I can kind of keep going with my evil plan to sort of create manually mimic a mirror image to the process of ecological succession. Here we go. Scientists always complaining, Rubisco is so slow, oh no, carbon capture and, like, carbon fixation in nature needs to happen faster. Oh, yeah. So what? You can eat more plants so you can eat them faster? You sicko. You just want to eat more plants. You just want them to grow faster for your own benefit. You selfish, greebling little creeble. You know? For shame. You know? Have you considered that maybe the plants don't like being eaten? Maybe they do. You know? Maybe they're like weird about it. I've said this before. It's possible they're like weird about it and they really enjoy being eaten. But I don't know. And it's also possible that they don't like it. And if they don't like it, well, then maybe you're being a little bit rude, you know, by imposing your desire to, like, go and eat them on those poor little guys, you know, on those poor little men and women who are photosynthetic, photosynthesis is what they call it, actually. You might have heard the term photosynthesis. That's actually an outdated and stupid term used by lamos. It's actually photosynthesis. You have to pronounce it just like that, and if you pronounce it a little bit wrong, I'll get you. I'll get you. Here we go. Okay, so I don't know what to do with this. I think what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to just mine out this stuff and use it to finish up that little cabin, because I didn't really finish that cabin in the last episode, and I feel a little bad about that. I feel like a sense of despair and dread and discomfort because of that, you know? Explain that to yourself, explain that to me, try to understand it, try to wrap your head around it. You'll find that it's quite difficult to physically wrap your head around anything. You know, it's a strange phrase. Why do people say that? I've tried to, and it does not work very well. A head is not a very flexible object, and when one exerts enough force onto one's head to cause it to deform, you know, that actually impairs brain function. So to get one's head around something is actually like kind of a violent metaphor. Kind of. I mean, kind of. Like a little bit. It's kind of violent. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird to say. Why would you say that? You know, you weirdo. Why would you be a weirdo when you could be a normal-o? You weirdo. Well, why would you wear a bubble jacket? They look stupid. You know? Very important. Not to be a bubble jacket wearer, lest you say something untoward, and thereby and thereafter be persecuted by society for your inequity, you bubble jacket wearer. They look dumb. I stand by it. And so do you if you wear one. The quality extends beyond simply wearing the bubble jacket. I think it makes you a dumb person to wear a bubble jacket. Not as in not intelligent, but as in just dumb. Just dumb. Not very good. Not a very good person in general. You know? Bad, basically. Basically just bad. Here we go. Do you ever think about how for every single choice you make, there's someone out there who's made the exact opposite choice? So in the end, almost everything kind of balances out. That annoys me to like a high level.
parrot. You're cute. Ah! I almost attacked you with a pickaxe. Didn't mean to do that. But I think I'd one-shot you if I hit you with a pickaxe. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Dirt, dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. At least I don't wear a bubble jacket. You know? I may be annoying, but at least I don't wear a bubble jacket. You know, at least I haven't sunk to that level of depravity. You know, I may be a weirdo, and I may dress like a weirdo, and I may act like a weirdo, and I may be a weirdo, but at least I don't wear one of those sick, twisted garments. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. It's a bad thing to wear. You're a bad person if you wear one. Solely on that basis, I have chosen to judge your soul and deemed it unworthy of love. So there is that. There's all that, you know? It's kind of like all a part of it. I think I'm going to leave some of this kind of the way it was. I'm going to cook more stone. I'm going to use that stone for my mob grinder. Mob grinder, mob spawner, I don't know. A little bit of both, maybe. I do like strays, the ones that spawn in the snow, but I think they only spawn when unobstructified from above. Okay, so I'm gonna have to wait for nighttime. Okay, I have 2 stacks, so I can put half a stack in each, and then I have 27 after that, so I can just quarter that, and then this one can get that, this one can get that, and this one can get that, and then I can grab as much, like, raw, you know, unfiltered, you know, hard, juicy stone as possible. As much like rock hard rock as I can. It's rock hard. Why do you think it's rock hard? Probably because it's made out of rocks. That's probably the most likely explanation. Yeah, but then it's kind of like, oh, hello. Oh, you went and carried a dirt block. That's very annoying of you. Okay, so where do I want to put this? There's that floating island. That's like a good maybe, but I think really what I want to do is I'm going to put it somewhere where, I don't know, maybe in like a natural hollow in the overall structure of things. I don't want to put it too far away from my base, but I've also got that other bed, and I've also got that other base, so maybe I could put it like in this area. I'm trying to remember if it's better to put it somewhere like high up or somewhere low down. I think higher up you can kind of isolate it. But then there's also like the monster noises. I don't want to hear like too many monster noises. I could put a cabin here. I could even... I know there's a cave here that I like, you know, that I like to connect to. So maybe I should just put it in that cave where it's got darkness. But I do want to make like a top layer that's kind of flush. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to make a separate wither or a separate stray spawner and a separate normal everyday mob spawner, because they have different sort of purposes. The slowing arrows are useful, so it's kind of a good way to get a supply of slowing arrows. I could also put it on top of here, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the main thing is I'm gonna need like a catchment basin at the bottom that's then gonna sweep everything into a bunch of soul campfires on top of hoppers, and then those hoppers connect to chests. So it does just kind of need to be like a big, self-contained, giant cube somewhere in this area. And I'm thinking it's best to kind of like separate it from everything else. If I put it too high up, it's going to be shading out what lives below it. So there is that. That's where that is. This cave system is going to be here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus on subtracting it from an existing sort of cave area. And I have a perfect little cave area to work on. You know, why not just use the existing natural landform as like the basis? Because like, why not? Why not? And how many layers? I think I'm gonna make it like 7 layers deep. Why 7? Because I want to. Because that's the number I like. It's a cool number. It's a cool number. It's also prime. You know, and also it's my decision. I get to make it up. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I mean, this whole area is like pretty good. It needs a little bit before it's gonna be like good. Okay, let's start with a crafting table. Yeah, I know. Oh no, terrible. I'd have to throw something on the ground for that to work. I can just make that happen efficiently. And then we're gonna need a bunch of this stuff, so we have a place to put things. And then we're gonna need a bunch of this stuff, because we're gonna need stuff to stuff. No? Okay. Where do we start? I mean, this ledge is kind of neat. We need at least 3 stone. That was easy. Okay, good. Sweet. So we have just enough to get the next stone pickaxe, to get continuing on our stone pickaxe journey. You know, and keep going, keep scroogling, keep groovy-geeling. We want to get this in there, we want to get that in there, we want to get that in there, this, and probably that, and then this, and then I think we're good. I think we can throw that in there. Maybe an extra bow just in case, and then placeholder cobble. And then we can just work our way in here. Why am I going here? I just want to know. I want to know what's up here. I wasn't expecting there to be that thing. That's okay. I can do something with that. Yeah. That is not my spawn point. That's not even close to being my spawn point. My spawn point is that bed. It's the bed. Okay, I think we're back on some kind of track. We just need to, light this up, and then it's not as much of a threat. But, I don't know what to do about all this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretend that I have been digging this out as, a well, and then this will just be a vertical shaft, kind of up to the surface. As long as that's actually possible, given, I don't know if this just terminates. I don't know if this just goes up and then stops, but it looks like it should connect to something. So I'm going to try and figure out if it does. But at least there's some iron up there. Oh, great. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Why did I drown now? There was definitely bubbles. So is it just that the drowning icon results from being underground, being suffocated by dirt? The drowning icon? I guess that must be it. Okay. Okay, well, anyway, that's like a straight shaft. I don't know what to do with it. It's possible that there's nothing I end up doing with it, but at least it looks a little bit organized. And I'm getting some iron out of the little corners here. So something good things are happening. I think I'm just overall pretty frustrated, and I'm trying to, like, I don't know, not be a nightmare, you know, not be a difficult person. But right now it's pretty hard. Right now it's feeling pretty hard to do that. So I'm doing my best, but I don't think this episode will go on much longer because, I don't know, just like not feeling it today. Really not feeling it today. And I'd really like to not have to deal with that whole thing, that whole situation. But anyway, look, I mean, there's some darkness. That's possibly where the last, like, couple of zombies sort of came from. So, I'll just get rid of the floor for that alcove, because that's not really helping me with anything. And now I have a lot more cobble to work with. I have the kind of cobble that I need to do what I was trying to do, which was this. I was trying to make a furnace room here, and make sure that I would have enough stuff to do with that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them like, there's one, that's fine, I don't want to change that. I'll put one here, I'll put two here and here, I'll throw two there, and then, I don't know, that can have one, and this can have one, you know? We'll throw one here, because it looks classy, and then throw that in there. And then we'll have some iron in this location, and we'll just keep going, because, I don't know, it all just feels too tricky right now. We'll get one pumpkin. There was also a sugar molecule, that I wanted to do something with, but that's not happening right now. I'll just clearly delineate that this is the entrance, and then it does look like there's some cave that extends that way. Let's find out where that goes. Alright, fine. Whatever. Not interested. Definitely not interested. Get out of my face. Okay, so there was definitely coal in my inventory when I died, so I feel like something's gotten missed. You'll come around the corner. It'll be fun. I promise. See how fun that was? Look at how fun that was. For you. Oh no. Oh my god. Well, this has been irritating. And ultimately quite pointless. Just like my ex-wife. Alright. Let's go. Let's go. Anyway, at least the immediate area around that drop pit is like not so much of a pain. that makes me feel a little bit better about myself and my situation. Just a little better. Now, rather than waste energy on a bunch of armor that will eventually wear out, I'm going to waste time on a bunch of hoppers. And I forget how to make hoppers, but I think I remembered how to make hoppers, and I think you need a bunch of wood. So I think I'm going to make a bunch of planks and a bunch of chests. I need 9 hoppers, so I need a bunch of chests. Like, do that again. And that gives us 2, and then we're going to want another 6. We're going to need more iron, but I think now we have enough iron in this just like little area here to make the rest of the hoppers that we need. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like, I'm going to make it so the drop pit goes through my living room and I can watch mobs fall through it as some sort of like sick, twisted sort of, I don't know, morbid entertainment, I think I'm going to call it. Boop, boop. How many is that? That's 12. I think that's enough for at least 2 more hoppers. I need 9 hoppers. We're getting there. Let's just feed it a little bit more iron and then we're pretty much there. I don't know what's down there, but I don't really want to brave it right now. I'm not feeling very brave. I'm not feeling very strong. I'm feeling pretty demoralized, delormanized. A little bit of all of those things, you know? Delormalized. Dormalormanized, as they say. Dormalmanized. Dormalmanormalmanormalmanormal. Okay, well, I think I will brave that pit just a little bit. I'll be a little brave. Because there's also, like, darkness up there, so there's a couple of places for mobs to sort of fall on me. That's got its own frustrations. That's a lot of zombies. It's like quite a bit more than 1 or 2 zombies. That's like 3 whole zombies right there. Okay, so they have exactly 1 way to get to me. skeleton is shooting at me right now, but I'd rather not find out. I'm not really all that concerned if they are. Not really my circus, not really my monkeys. This looks like a very annoying little cave. I don't know where this goes, but I do see grass on the other end. So maybe there's something worthwhile in here. I mean, it's possible it just somehow connects to the surface. That doesn't seem to be the case. It does seem like that is now dark oak biome, just based on the color of the grass. Anyway, that gives a lot of food, so that's fine. Oh hey, I thought it was a creeper, but it turns out it's just a way up to the surface. So that's actually kind of nice. Where is this? I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, this is neat. Oh, this is very neat. That's a cow. There's no need to be scared of a cow. Do I have enough wool for another bed? Because I actually do really want to check this out, like, properly. Look at that. It's an interesting paradox. The caves are, like, dangerous until you light them up, and then they're actually some of the safer areas. Yeah, alright. But yeah, I like this section quite a lot. Mostly because the giant column in the center of the thing. But and the three biomes sort of intersecting all in the same little micro area. So you've got a little forest, a little dark oak, a little pale oak, all in this little tri-corner. And then there's a nice little pit that just goes down, and then this ends up being sort of a crawl. It ends up being pretty tight, but once you get through it, you end up in a pretty much linear little hallway that almost looks constructed, It just brings you straight back to a little copper deposit, and that's where I came in. And then this is a lot to push mobs sort of down, and everything that goes down ends up going to this point. Oh, where does this go? Nowhere, okay. I'm just wondering if I could use this landform as like a natural sort of a mob grinder. Just push everything down into that corner periodically. Just to simplify things for myself, to be honest. But, yeah, let's make a staircase up. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so that pit eventually goes down and connects to another bit of pale oak forest biome. This is like a great little viney like bedroom. I think this is a good start. We can throw some moss down here and start expanding just the moss cover and get this to a place where it's like a more cozy environment, a little bit more green. And then this will be a good place for the mob spawner once I've sort of collected some of the materials that make that more possible. But I think that's just going to be all she wrote for this episode. I know I'm like totally fogged out, but I think I'm just going to have to accept it, because sometimes when you try to push yourself, when you try to force yourself to do something and you're not feeling it, you end up just pulling a muscle or something inside you, and nobody needs that. Nobody needs you at your worst, you know? It ends up being less than helpful. But then again, I might just make the vista be the process of digging out a mob spawner and then putting it at the bottom of this area. Because, I don't know, it just feels like unfulfilled otherwise. I think I am going to use this area as like the drop tower, and then put everything for mob spawner, This will be ground zero. So this is the center. This is where all the chests will be. This will be where all the vests will be.
thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month to see these videos 2 weeks early. Have a great day. If you need to rest, rest, even if it disappoints the people who you feel like absolutely rely on you. Sometimes they'll surprise you. And remember, no matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, it is always Tuesday. And have a great day.